You begin by noticing that nothing is asking anything of you right now. No decisions, no effort, just the simple fact that you are here, breathing, supported, and gently awake in the dark. Your body rests, perhaps heavier than before, as if the surface beneath you remembers how to hold you without instructions. Your breath moves in slowly, and moves out again, like it has all night, like it plans to continue whether or not you pay attention. You let it happen. As your breathing settles, your attention drifts outward, the way a thought drifts when it is no longer needed. You imagine space not as something far away, but as something you are already inside. Not loud, not dramatic, just wide. The universe does not rush tonight. It does not explode or collide or shout for your attention. Instead, it stretches, quietly, patiently. You sense it the way you might sense water rising around your ankles without waves, without splashing, without warning. A calm cosmic tide, lifting space itself, not pushing, not pulling sharply, simply allowing more room to exist. This tide has no edge you can see. It has no surface to break. You breathe in, space opens. You breathe out, it stays open. This is expansion, not as a number or a measurement, but as a feeling. A gentle widening, permission. For a long time, people imagine the universe as a place filled with events. Stars forming, galaxies spinning, bright things happening somewhere else. But tonight, you rest with a different idea. Most of the universe is quiet. Most of it is space between things. And that space is slowly, calmly, becoming more space. You do not need to picture it perfectly. The universe does not mind vague images. It has plenty of room for them. You might imagine lying on your back, looking up at a sky so dark it feels soft, sprinkled with distant lights that do not flicker. Or you might imagine floating, held by the steady presence of the cosmic tide beneath you. Either way, you are not falling. You are being carried. Somewhere in this quiet widening, there is a name people give to what they cannot see directly. They call it dark energy, a name that sounds heavier than it feels. Dark energy is not dark like fear. It is dark like a room with the lights off, where nothing is wrong. It is simply unseen. You are not asked to understand it tonight. Dark energy does not demand comprehension. It does not tap you on the shoulder or clear its throat impatiently. It works whether or not you notice. In simple terms, it seems to be the reason the universe keeps expanding, even when gravity would prefer things to settle down. Gravity gathers. Dark energy allows space to keep opening. They are not fighting. They are dancing very slowly, on scales so large that the word slow almost feels hurried. You smile softly at the thought that the universe contains forces with excellent patience. Better patience than most people. Better patience than your phone, certainly. The cosmic tide continues its quiet rise. Not rushing toward a shore. Not crashing. Just lifting everything everywhere evenly. You feel how comforting that sameness is. Nothing is singled out. Nothing is left behind. As you rest here, curiosity feels different than it does during the day. It is no longer sharp or hungry. It is round, warm. You can wonder without needing answers. You can float inside a question the way you float inside breath. What is this tide made of? Is it part of space itself? Is it woven into the fabric of the universe the way warmth is woven into sunlight? You do not chase these thoughts. You let them drift past like slow clouds, barely moving. Your body sinks a little more. Your shoulders soften. Your jaw releases without comment. If the universe can expand without strain, you can rest without effort. If space can gently open, you can too. There is something reassuring about a mystery that does not rush toward being solved. Dark energy waits. It has always waited. You imagine the universe long ago, smaller, closer together, still carrying this quiet tide inside it, like a breath held patiently. And you imagine it far in the future, wider, calmer, still expanding, still unbothered. The tide does not grow tired. It does not ask if it should stop. It simply continues. You notice how your own breath mirrors this rhythm. In. A distant hum seems to exist beneath everything. Not a sound you hear with ears, but a sense of continuity. like the background noise of existence itself, steady and kind. Nothing needs to happen next. Nothing needs to change. And yet, quietly, inevitably, the universe does keep changing. Not with urgency, with grace. As your breath lengthens just a little more, you feel the cosmic tide beginning its gentle pull, carrying your awareness outward, toward the slow discovery that space itself does not stand still. You arrive here without effort, carried naturally from the quiet widening you were just resting inside. Nothing snaps into focus. Nothing announces itself. You simply notice that the universe has not been standing still after all. Your breath moves gently, and with each slow exhale, the idea settles deeper. Space is not frozen. It is not holding its position politely. It is easing outward, everywhere at once, like a calm tide that never breaks the surface. For a long time, the universe appears still because its motion is not the kind you can point to. Galaxies do not rush like startled birds. They drift. They glide. They separate with the patience of something that has never known a deadline. You imagine watching distant lights, so far away that their movement feels impossible to notice. Yet over long stretches of quiet time, those lights slowly part from one another. Not because they are fleeing, not because something pushes them sharply, but because the space between them is gently growing. This realization does not arrive with fanfare. It arrives the way you notice night has deepened, without remembering the moment day let go. Scientists once expected gravity to slow everything down, to gather the universe inward like a careful hand. And gravity does gather, locally, tenderly, doing its familiar work. But beyond those close embraces, something else is happening. The cosmic tide continues to rise. You rest with that image. Not waves, not currents, just water lifting quietly around everything, evenly, without preference. This is not motion through space. It is space itself changing, stretching, unfolding. You let your shoulders drop a little more as you take this in. Nothing is being torn apart. Nothing is panicking. The universe is simply making room. You smile faintly at how strange it is that discovery can be so gentle. There is no alarm bell attached to this knowledge. No urgency. Just a soft adjustment in understanding, like shifting position under a blanket. The galaxies do not feel this change as travel. They are not packing bags or waving goodbye. They remain where they are, while the distance between them grows like a yawn stretching open. You breathe in, imagining warmth spreading from your chest outward. You breathe out, and that warmth remains, settled. The cosmic tide behaves much the same way. Inhale, space opens. Exhale, stays open. There is something deeply calming about expansion without destination. Nothing is trying to arrive somewhere else. There is no finish line waiting impatiently. You notice how your own thoughts begin to slow in response. When movement is gentle, the mind follows. This discovery, that the universe expands, is not a single moment frozen in history. It is an ongoing noticing, refined over time, confirmed quietly again and again. Each observation is like touching the surface of water and realizing it is higher than before. You picture scientists peering through telescopes late at night, not chasing drama, just listening carefully to what light reveals. The universe speaks softly. It always has. Light from distant galaxies arrives stretched, relaxed, carrying the signature of expansion within it. No numbers are needed tonight. No calculations disturb the calm. Only the idea that space has been slowly loosening its posture for a very long time. You find comfort in the thought that the universe does not resist change. It allows it. The cosmic tide does not surge. It does not retreat. It does not check the time. It simply continues steady and impartial, lifting all of space the same way. You let yourself be lifted too, not physically, but emotionally, as tension eases its grip. Change, you realize, does not always mean disruption. Sometimes it means relief. The universe expands the way you might stretch after resting too long. No strain, just openness returning. There is a small, quiet humor in how long it takes to notice something so vast. The universe has been expanding all along, patiently waiting for someone to look carefully enough. It does not seem offended that it took a while. You feel that patience settle around you, like a shared understanding. Some things reveal themselves only when approached slowly. As you float inside this realization, a question forms without pressure. If space itself keeps unfolding, if the tide keeps lifting everything apart so gently, then something must be allowing it. Not forcing it, not commanding it, allowing it. The cosmic tide feels guided, even if its guide remains unseen. You do not try to name it yet. You simply notice its presence, the way you notice the steady rhythm of breath without counting. Your body remains relaxed, grounded, supported. The distant hum beneath existence continues, soft and reassuring. Nothing has gone wrong. Nothing needs to be corrected. The universe is not running away. It is opening. And as you rest inside that opening, curiosity stirs again, calm and unafraid, wondering gently what unseen influence keeps the tide moving, steady and patient. Beneath the stillness you are only beginning to notice. You drift naturally from the idea of expansion into something even quieter. Not outward this time, but inward, into the spaces where almost nothing happens. Your breath slows again, as if it recognizes the invitation. You notice how silence feels different here. It is not empty. It is wide. Between galaxies, there are stretches of space so calm that even motion seems to soften. No collisions, no flashes, just distance patiently existing. You rest your attention there in the places between the lights. Most of the universe lives in these spaces, not in stars or worlds, but in the quiet that separates them. It is an unexpected thought, and a comforting one. The cosmic tide continues here too. It does not announce itself. It does not ripple the surface. It moves beneath everything, like water rising under a frozen lake. You imagine placing your ear gently against the universe, not to hear sound, but to sense presence. There is a feeling, subtle and steady, like a distant hum you cannot quite locate. Dark energy begins to feel less like a thing and more like a background condition. Something you notice only when you stop looking for objects. You breathe in. The silence opens. You breathe out. It remains open. This is how some things are known, not by what they show, but by what they allow. The space between galaxies keeps stretching, and nothing resists it strongly enough to stop it. The tide moves without splashing. You find it strangely reassuring that the universe contains so much quiet, so much room where nothing needs to perform. There is a gentle humor in realizing that the loudest mysteries are often hidden in the softest places. Dark energy does not glow. It does not sparkle. It simply is. You feel your shoulders sink a little more, responding to the calm. Your jaw loosens. Your breath deepens, uncounted and unforced. The silence here is not loneliness. It is spaciousness, the kind that does not crowd you. In these vast gaps, gravity still works, but its voice is quieter. It gathers nearby things, but across immense distances, the cosmic tide continues its patient rise. No argument, no urgency. You imagine galaxies as islands in a slowly rising sea. They do not sail away from each other. The water between them simply grows deeper, wider, more generous. This is how dark energy reveals itself. Not through touch, but through separation. Not through sound, but through quiet persistence. You rest with the idea that absence can be informative. That silence can carry structure. The universe is not empty here. It is full of space. Your thoughts slow further, matching the rhythm of expansion. Long, soft sentences form in your mind, then drift away unfinished. You notice how safe it feels to not be surrounded by activity. How comforting it is to float in something that does not demand attention. The cosmic tide does not mind your stillness. It has all the time there is. Dark energy remains unnamed in detail, and that feels appropriate. Names can wait. Understanding can wait. Tonight, you are only listening. You listen to the way space holds itself open. You listen to the way distance grows without strain. You listen to the way the universe continues, quietly confident. There is something deeply kind about a force that works the same everywhere. Nothing is singled out. Nothing is favored or forgotten. You let that sameness settle into you, a steady rhythm, a quiet assurance. The silence between galaxies feels less like emptiness now and more like rest, a place where nothing needs to happen for meaning to exist. You smile faintly at how different this is from how mysteries are usually portrayed. No drama, no danger, just a soft unknown, breathing along with you. Your breath and the cosmic tide seem to share a pace. Open, still open. The universe does not rush to explain itself. It trusts that noticing is enough for now. As you continue to rest inside this silence, curiosity returns, gentle and unafraid. If something unseen fills all this space so evenly, if it guides expansion without leaving ripples, then perhaps it is woven into space itself. The thought drifts past without needing resolution. You remain calm, grounded, held. The tide continues, unseen, beneath your awareness, carrying you slowly toward the next realization, where even gravity will begin to feel lighter. You arrive here gently, still wrapped in the silence you were listening to before. Your body feels settled, heavy in a comforting way, like a blanket that knows your shape. Gravity is easy to notice at first. It is the reason you stay where you are. Gravity feels familiar. It is the quiet weight that keeps your body resting instead of drifting. It is the reason your breath moves downward into your chest and back out again. It is not dramatic. It is dependable. You realize that gravity has been holding you your entire life without ever asking for recognition. Keeps your feet where they belong. Keeps oceans curved around a planet. It gathers dust into stars and stars into galaxies, patiently, persistently. Tonight, gravity does not feel like a force. It feels like reassurance. You sense it as a gentle downward presence, a steady reminder that things can settle, that they can stay together. Your shoulders soften into that idea. Your spine rests, but as you widen your attention again, the cosmic tide returns to awareness. It is still there, still rising, still calm. And across enormous distances, something interesting happens. Gravity gathers nearby things, holding them close, like a hand around a cup of warm tea. But far beyond those local embraces, the tide continues to lift space itself. Not suddenly, not violently, just enough to slowly loosen gravity's long reach. You imagine holding a small stone in your palm. Close to your hand it stays, but imagine the space between hands stretching, ever so slowly. Eventually, the stone no longer feels the pull. It is not pushed away. It is simply allowed more room. This is how the universe behaves on its largest scales. Gravity still works. It has not disappeared. It has not failed. It simply shares the stage with something quieter and more patient. The cosmic tide does not confront gravity. It outpaces it. You find comfort in that distinction. There is no struggle here, no argument. Just two influences operating gently, each in their own domain. Your breath mirrors this balance. Inhale, you feel a subtle lift. Exhale, you feel yourself settle back into support. You notice how calm this rhythm feels. Nothing is forced upward. Nothing is pressed downward. For a moment, there is a soft humor in imagining gravity as the universe's tendency to cuddle, while dark energy is its tendency to stretch out and get comfortable. Neither is wrong. Both are necessary. You smile faintly, then let the thought drift away. The idea that gravity loosens its grip across the vastness does not feel alarming. It feels like relief, like unclenching a fist that has been holding on for a very long time. You imagine galaxies gently bound within clusters, still held together, still intact. And beyond them, space opening wider, calmly, endlessly. No tearing. No snapping threads. Letting go does not mean falling apart. It means allowing distance without loss. Your body understands this instinctively. As you exhale, muscles release without collapsing. Support remains even as tension leaves. The cosmic tide behaves the same way. It does not strip the universe of structure. It simply prevents everything from collapsing back inward too quickly. There is something deeply kind about that. A universe that does not rush itself into an ending. You rest with that kindness, letting it seep into your chest and shoulders. The distant hum beneath everything continues, steady and unbothered. Gravity still hums too, quietly doing its work where it matters most. Stars continue to shine. Galaxies continue to turn. And yet, between them, the tide keeps lifting space, softening the long-distance pull. You imagine lying back on a gentle slope, not steep enough to slide, not flat enough to feel rigid. Just enough of an incline to feel held and free at the same time. This balance feels important. It feels intentional even if no intention is assigned. Dark energy, whatever it truly is, does not act like a shove. It acts like permission. Permission for space to relax. You notice how safe it feels to think of expansion this way. Not as escape but as easing. Your breath slows further, naturally. There is nothing to brace against. If gravity is the universe remembering how to gather, then the cosmic tide is the universe remembering how to open. Both memories coexist. You find reassurance in the idea that letting go can happen slowly. That release does not require loss. The universe loosens its grip without dropping what it loves. As this understanding settles, curiosity begins to shift shape. Not sharper, softer. If gravity can be gently outpaced without conflict, if space itself can stretch calmly against gathering, then perhaps the source of this tide is not something external at all. Perhaps it is woven into space itself. The thought arrives without urgency, floating like a feather. You do not grab it. You let it drift alongside you. Your body remains warm, supported, calm. Your breath continues its steady rhythm. The cosmic tide keeps rising, quietly, patiently, carrying you toward the next idea, where the possibility of hidden fields begins to whisper from within the fabric of space itself. You drift here naturally, carried forward by the thought that space itself may be doing more than simply holding things apart. Your body remains relaxed, heavy in the best possible way, as if the idea settles into you before the words do. You breathe in slowly. You breathe out. The universe feels close now, not far away. Not something you look at, but something you are inside of. When you imagine space, it is easy to think of emptiness, of nothing at all. But science gently suggests something different. That space may be filled with quiet structure, subtle and everywhere, like a background hum you only notice when the room grows still. You let that idea rest without pressure. No diagrams, no definitions that demand effort. Just the sense that there may be invisible fields, spread smoothly through all of space, the way warmth spreads through a room without edges. A field is not an object. It does not sit in one place. It exists everywhere at once. You already live with fields every day without thinking about them. Gravity holds you without being seen. Light reaches you without leaving tracks behind. So the idea of a hidden field filling space does not feel strange tonight. It feels familiar, like remembering something you never needed to name. Dark energy in this quiet framing begins to feel like one of these fields. Not a substance drifting around. Not a wave crashing through the universe. More like a calm condition of space itself. You imagine the cosmic tide again, but now there is no waterline. No surface. No shore. The tide is everywhere, equally present, lifting space from within. You find comfort in how gentle this idea feels. Nothing is being pushed outward. Nothing is being forced to move. Space simply allows itself to expand, because this field is there, steady and patient like a background permission slip that never expires. You breathe in, feeling your chest rise softly. You breathe out, and notice how the space inside you does not collapse. It remains open. That openness begins to mirror the universe itself. Hidden fields do not shout their presence. They whisper. They shape behavior without ever stepping into view. There is something almost humorous about how important the quietest things can be. The universe may be guided by something so subtle that it took a very long time to notice. It waited politely. You smile at that thought, then let it drift away. If dark energy is a field, then it does not come from somewhere else. It does not arrive late. It does not turn on or off. It is simply there, woven into space the way softness is woven into night. You imagine every point in the universe carrying this same gentle background, no matter how empty it seems. Between galaxies, between stars, between thoughts, everywhere the same calm presence. The cosmic tide no longer feels like something happening far away. Feels immediate, intimate. It is happening right where you are, even now, even here. That realization brings a deep sense of reassurance. Nothing special is required for expansion to occur. No event, no trigger. The universe does not need to be convinced to keep going. You feel how this idea softens your own need to push, to strive, to hurry. If space itself expands because of what it already contains, then perhaps growth does not always require effort. Sometimes it requires allowance. You rest into that allowance, letting your shoulders sink further. Your jaw loosens. Your breath becomes slow and uncounted. Hidden fields are difficult to picture because they are not meant to be seen. They are meant to be felt indirectly through what they make possible. Dark energy does not show itself. It shows its effects. The universe is larger tomorrow than it is today, not because something dramatic happens, but because space quietly continues doing what it does best. Opening. You imagine space as fabric, not stretched tight, but gently relaxing over time, easing into more room. No tearing, no strain, just patience. There is a warmth in this thought, a sense that the universe is not harsh or brittle. It is flexible, forgiving. You notice the distant hum beneath everything again, that sense of continuity that never seems to fade. Perhaps this is what a field feels like when you stop trying to isolate it. Not a sound, not a thing, just steadiness. You let yourself be surrounded by this steadiness, the way you are surrounded by air without needing to see it. There is relief in knowing that support does not have to announce itself, that something can hold everything together or gently apart without asking for attention. The cosmic tide becomes a shared breath now. Inhale. Space opens. Exhale. It stays open. You sense how evenly this breath moves everywhere. No preference. No bias. Nothing is singled out for expansion. Everything is included. The sameness feels kind. Feels fair. You rest with the idea that the universe may be filled with quiet helpers, invisible structures that do their work without needing names. Fields that whisper instead of command. Dark energy remains mysterious, but the mystery feels soft-edged now, less like a question mark, more like a lullaby. You are already surrounded by support you do not have to notice. You always have been. Your body responds to that truth instinctively, sinking deeper into rest. There is nothing to solve tonight, nothing to measure. Only the gentle understanding that the cosmic tide is no longer distant. It is everywhere. And as you float inside this idea, calm and unhurried, your curiosity drifts onward, preparing to breathe in rhythm with the fabric of space itself, where expansion begins to feel like a shared, endless breath. You arrive here as if on an exhale, without effort, without crossing any clear boundary. The idea of hidden fields still lingers softly, like warmth after a light is dimmed. Your body remains supported, calm, aware only enough to notice comfort. You take a slow breath in. You let it go. For the first time, you do not imagine space as something stretching outward on its own. You imagine it breathing. Not lungs, not air, just a rhythm. In this quiet framing, the universe begins to feel alive in a very gentle way. Not busy, not restless, just steady. You notice how your own breathing has no destination. You do not breathe in to arrive somewhere else. You breathe because breathing continues. The cosmic tide feels similar now. Not a motion toward an edge, but a repeating openness. Inhale. Space opens. Exhale. It does not close. Dark energy, in this moment, feels less like an explanation and more like a background breath the universe never stops taking. It does not need rest. It does not need instruction. It simply continues. You feel how calming it is to imagine expansion without effort. Nothing is being pushed outward. Nothing is being stretched thin. Space opens the way your chest opens when you breathe deeply and realize there was room all along. There is something comforting in knowing the universe is not straining to grow. It is not chasing size. It is not afraid of stillness. It breathes, and the breathing is enough. You notice how your body responds instinctively to this image. Your breath slows further. Your chest rises softly. Your shoulders remain relaxed. No one is counting. No one is watching. The universe breathes whether or not anyone notices. This makes the idea feel trustworthy, reliable. If dark energy is part of this breath, then it is not something that switches on or off. It does not flare. It does not flicker. It hums quietly beneath everything, like the background sound of being. You imagine the fabric of space itself responding to this breath, opening gently, evenly everywhere at once. No part resists. No part rushes ahead. It is a shared rhythm. You smile faintly at the thought that the universe might be very good at yoga. Long stretches, excellent breathing, no urgency whatsoever. The humor is soft, barely there, and it dissolves without pulling you out of calm. You return to the rhythm. Open. Still open. This breathing does not move things through space. It changes space itself. Galaxies remain where they are, held locally by gravity's gentle arms. But the space between them participates in this breath, slowly widening, patiently responding. There is no rush toward an ending, no sense of running out. Dark energy does not tire. It does not weaken with time. It is as steady now as it ever has been, as steady as your next breath waiting quietly for its turn. You feel reassured by this constancy. Change does not always mean instability. Sometimes it means continuity expressed gently. Your thoughts slow, matching the pace. They lengthen. They soften. You notice how safe it feels to imagine a universe that grows without urgency. A universe that is not anxious about its future. If space itself can relax into expansion, perhaps you can relax too. Your breath deepens slightly, not because you try, but because your body agrees. The cosmic tide feels closer now than ever. Not something you observe. Something you participate in simply by existing. You are already inside the breath of the universe. That realization brings a subtle warmth, spreading slowly behind your eyes, across your chest. Not excitement, comfort. There is nothing to keep up with. Nothing to fall behind. The universe breathes at the same pace everywhere. No faster here, no slower there. The sameness feels kind, inclusive. You rest inside it, letting go of the need to understand more tonight. Understanding can wait. Breathing cannot. Continues. The fabric of space continues to open, not dramatically, but faithfully, breath after breath after breath. You drift with this rhythm, supported by something vast and patient, until a gentle question begins to form at the edge of awareness. If this breath is everywhere, if it never changes its pace, why does it feel the same no matter where you imagine yourself drifting? The thought remains unanswered, floating softly, as you breathe once more and allow the steady tide to carry you onward. You continue drifting without effort, still carried by the slow breathing of space itself. The rhythm has not changed. It does not speed up as you move. It does not soften as you pause. Everywhere you imagine yourself drifting, the cosmic tide feels the same. You notice this gently, the way you notice that gravity pulls downward no matter where you stand. It does not surprise you. It reassures you. Your breath remains slow and steady. The universe seems to match it perfectly, as if there were never any other option. You imagine floating near a distant galaxy, light years from anything familiar. The stars look different. The patterns shift. But the feeling beneath everything remains unchanged. The tide does not care where you are. It does not adjust its behavior based on location. This sameness is one of the quiet clues scientists notice when they listen carefully to the universe. Expansion behaves politely. It behaves evenly. Space opens here exactly as it opens there. You let that idea settle into you, and something inside relaxes further. A universe with consistent behavior feels trustworthy, predictable in the best possible way. Dark energy, in this framing, does not arrive in patches or pulses. It does not gather in corners or thin out in others. It fills all of space equally, like warmth filling a room without drafts. You rest with that image, noticing how comfort comes from knowing nothing is missing where you are. You are not in the wrong place. You never were. The cosmic tide does not favor one region over another. It does not lean closer to bright galaxies or pull away from quiet voids. Everything participates. There is a small, almost playful humor in realizing how fair the universe is. No special treatment. No exceptions. Even the stars must share. You smile faintly, then allow the thought to fade back into the rhythm. Consistency can feel boring during the day. At night, it feels like safety. Your body understands this instinctively. A steady pulse is comforting. An even breath is calming. The universe offers the same reassurance. The cosmic tide rises everywhere at once, not because it tries to, but because it is part of space itself. There is no edge where it begins, no center where it is stronger, just sameness. You imagine laying your hand against the surface of a perfectly still lake, feeling the water beneath, deep and even. No ripples, no currents tugging unexpectedly. That is how expansion feels here. You notice how easy it is to let go when nothing surprises you, when nothing suddenly changes pace. Your breath continues. The universe continues. Dark energy reveals itself through patience and regularity, not drama. If it were uneven, if it surged or faded, the universe would feel restless. But it does not. Feels calm. You sense the distant hum again, the quiet background continuity that has been with you since the beginning. It does not grow louder. It does not soften. It simply remains. This uniformity means that no matter how far you drift in imagination, the rules remain gentle and familiar. Space opens. Gravity gathers locally. The tide rises steadily beneath it all. You find comfort in knowing that nothing unexpected is waiting just beyond awareness. The universe does not hide sudden sharp edges. It is remarkably polite. There is another soft humor in how such a vast mystery expresses itself so calmly. The largest influence on the universe behaves like it does not want to wake anyone. You appreciate that. You let yourself sink deeper into rest, trusting the sameness to hold you. Your thoughts slow further, stretched out like the space they inhabit. No racing, no urgency. The cosmic tide does not change direction. It does not hesitate. It continues because continuation is its nature. This idea begins to feel deeply reassuring. If the universe can be counted on to behave consistently, perhaps you can trust the ground beneath your own life as well. Not everything needs to be unpredictable to be meaningful. Your breath mirrors this truth. Each inhale resembles the last. Each exhale follows naturally. The rhythm does not bore you. It soothes you. Dark energy, whatever it ultimately turns out to be, expresses itself through this evenness. It does not need to announce itself differently in different places. It already fills everything equally. You notice how safe it feels to be inside something that does not judge location. You are not too close. You are not too far. You are simply inside. The cosmic tide remains unchanged as you imagine drifting farther still, beyond clusters, beyond familiar structures. The feeling does not waver. Space opens. Space remains open. This steadiness begins to feel like a promise the universe keeps without ever saying aloud. Promise of continuity. You rest with that promise, letting it settle into your chest like warmth spreading slowly. There is nothing to brace for, nothing to anticipate. The tide will not suddenly shift beneath you. As you float inside this calm consistency, a new curiosity begins to form, gentle and unafraid. If the steady expansion feels the same everywhere, if it never changes pace or direction, then it must also be shaping something else quietly. Perhaps even time itself is drifting along with this tide. The thought does not demand an answer. It simply opens a door. You breathe once more, slow and even, and allow the uniform rhythm of the universe to carry you forward, smoothly, into the next idea, where expansion and time begin to move together, just as patiently. You drift onward without noticing the moment you begin thinking about time. It happens quietly, the way evening becomes night without announcement. The sameness of the cosmic tide still surrounds you, steady and reassuring, and now you sense something else moving along with it. Time does not tick loudly here. It does not count itself. It stretches. You notice how different this feels from the way time usually behaves during the day. There are no schedules, no edges, just a slow unfolding, as gentle as space itself. The universe does not age by rushing from one event to the next. It ages by becoming wider. You let that idea settle into you. The cosmic tide lifts space, and time seems to drift along with it, carried gently, never pulled ahead. You breathe in slowly. You breathe out. Nothing urges the next moment to arrive faster. When scientists speak quietly about the universe growing older, they are often speaking about expansion, about space stretching, easing into more room, about time passing without needing drama. You imagine the earliest universe not as chaos tonight, but as closeness. Everything nearer together, breathing in a smaller space. And as the cosmic tide continues, that closeness gradually relaxes. Time flows not because something pushes it forward, but because space allows itself to open. This feels comforting. You are used to thinking of time as something that chases you. Here it walks beside you instead. You sense the patience in this movement. Nothing collapses suddenly. Nothing rushes toward an ending. Dark energy begins to feel like a keeper of cosmic patience. A quiet presence ensuring the universe does not hurry itself into stillness. You find reassurance in that role. A universe that takes its time feels safer to rest inside. The cosmic tide does not pull moments away from you. It carries them gently, like water carrying a leaf without spinning it. You imagine lying beside a slow river at night, watching reflections drift past without counting them. Each moment passes, but none feel lost. This is how time behaves here. Expansion shapes time the way breathing shapes a pause. Inhale, and there is space for a moment to exist. Exhale, and the moment does not vanish. It becomes part of the flow. You notice how this perspective softens your relationship with change. If the universe can become older without urgency, perhaps you can too. There is a faint humor in realizing that the universe might be very bad at deadlines. It expands when it expands. No reminders needed. You smile slightly, then let the thought drift away. The cosmic tide continues, steady and unbothered. Time follows its lead, not racing ahead, not lagging behind. You sense that this is why the universe feels calm at large scales. Its clock is not loud. Its rhythm is slow. Moments are not sharp here. They are rounded. You feel how your own thoughts begin to stretch out, becoming longer, softer, less eager to conclude. Some of them do not finish at all. That feels right. Dark energy in this quiet understanding does not just open space. It protects time from collapsing inward too quickly. It ensures that becoming can continue gently. You imagine galaxies aging not through sudden changes, but through long, patient drifting. Stars live their lives. Light travels. Space widens. Time is carried along, never shoved. You rest with the idea that the universe does not fear the future. It approaches it slowly, breathing all the way. Your breath mirrors this again. No rush to inhale again. The next breath will arrive when it arrives. The cosmic tide behaves the same way. It does not hurry the next expansion. There is kindness in that. You notice how safe it feels to imagine time as spacious rather than scarce. There is room for moments to stretch. Room for pauses to exist without guilt. The universe allows itself this generosity. You feel warmth spreading gently through your chest. A subtle reassurance that nothing is being taken away too quickly. Time is not running out here. It is opening. You imagine drifting through eras the way you drift through breath cycles. Each one complete. Each one unforced. The distant hum beneath everything remains steady, unchanged by the passing of moments. It does not grow tired. You realize that this steadiness is what makes the universe feel old in a comforting way. Not worn. Experienced. The cosmic tide has been rising for a very long time, and it shows no sign of impatience. You let that patience sink into you. Your muscles soften further. Your face relaxes. If time can drift, so can you. Dark energy remains mysterious, but its effect feels increasingly gentle. It is not a countdown. It is not a race. It is an allowance. You sense how expansion and time are intertwined, each supporting the other's calm continuation. Space opens. Time flows. Neither hurries. There is relief in knowing that the universe does not demand urgency from you. It does not expect quick understanding. It simply continues. As you rest inside the slow becoming, a soft curiosity begins to stir again. If time drifts so smoothly with expansion, if nothing ever seems to speed up or slow down depending on place, then perhaps this patience raises another quiet question. Could the cosmic tide ever change its rhythm? The thought arrives gently and remains open, unresolved, floating beside you. You breathe once more, slow and deep, and allow time and space to continue drifting together, carrying you calmly forward, toward the place where unanswered questions are allowed to remain soft. You drift from the slow flow of space and time into the gentle comfort of curiosity. The cosmic tide continues beneath you, steady, patient, unchanged. Your breath follows its rhythm. Some questions do not need answers tonight. They are not urgent. They are not threats. You notice how soft they can feel when you allow them to exist without rushing. Dark energy, for instance, remains largely mysterious. What exactly is it? How does it persist, steady and invisible? Does it change over time? You do not need to know tonight. You rest in the idea that not all mysteries need resolution. Some are simply companions, quietly present. You imagine floating between galaxies again, letting the spaces stretch around you. Everywhere you look, the same calm tide continues. Its uniformity reassures you. Its consistency invites rest. And yet, within that calm, small questions linger. What if the hidden fields shift imperceptibly over eons? What if the tide itself changes its rhythm slightly, somewhere far away? You do not press for answers. You do not lean forward. You simply notice. This noticing is enough. You breathe slowly, feeling how your own awareness expands without needing to grasp. Inhale, the question hovers. Exhale, it drifts gently to the side. Some mysteries are like soft music in another room. You hear them, but they do not demand your attention. They are part of the environment. Dark energy is like that. It moves the universe without clamor. It shapes space and perhaps even time without needing acknowledgement. You allow yourself to smile faintly at the quiet humor of a universe that can operate on such a subtle level. Its most important work is invisible and yet essential. Your body responds instinctively to this understanding. Muscles relax further. Your chest rises and falls with ease. You feel a sense of permission settling in. Permission to exist without needing to solve everything. Permission to drift inside questions that remain unanswered. Even the largest unknowns, the forces that shape galaxies, the fields that fill space, can be experienced softly. Not with tension, not with anxiety, simply with presence. You notice how the universe itself models patience. The tide continues, unseen. It rises steadily across eons. It does not rush. It does not hurry toward understanding. You let yourself mirror this behavior. You rest with questions rather than hunting for solutions. There is a strange comfort in acknowledging what you do not yet know. It is a lullaby of possibility, rather than a worry of ignorance. You imagine the vast stretches between galaxies again, each filled with silent space. Dark energy is there. Gravity is there. All forces move according to patterns that are largely invisible. And yet, you feel the balance. You sense the tide. You know the universe is continuing. Even if you do not understand every detail, this quiet understanding allows the mind to soften. Curiosity becomes a gentle companion, not a demand. You breathe in again, feeling the spaces between ideas expand as your chest rises. You breathe out, allowing the unanswered questions to drift like leaves on a slow-moving river. The cosmic tide continues beneath it all, unseen, patient, infinite. You notice how your own awareness has begun to resemble this tide. It flows without pressure. It carries moments, feelings, and questions together, harmoniously. Some questions remain unanswered. Some mysteries may never be solved. And that is perfectly okay. You allow the calm of this understanding to settle fully into your body. Muscles release tension. Your thoughts continue to drift like soft clouds. Breath remains slow, steady, unhurried. The universe does not demand that you know everything. You do not need to understand every hidden field, every distant ripple of space. It is enough to notice, to breathe, to exist inside the quiet expansion. And as you rest in this gentle curiosity, the thought drifts forward, soft and inviting. The tide continues, moving beneath everything, carrying you patiently toward the final chapter, where stillness and expansion finally meet inside you. You arrive here softly, like stepping into a quiet room you have always known. The cosmic tide continues beneath and around you, steady, patient, unwavering. Your body is fully supported. Your chest rises and falls without effort. Your shoulders release completely. The spaces between galaxies, the hidden fields, the stretching of time, all of it folds gently into awareness. You feel it inside yourself as well as outside. Breath and space move together. Inhale and you feel expansion. Exhale and stillness remains. Dark energy is no longer just an abstract idea. It is the subtle rising of the universe beneath you. It is the calm that allows everything to exist, evenly, fully, patiently. It does not push. It does not demand. It simply is. You notice warmth spreading through your body, as if the universe itself is pressing lightly against your skin in reassurance. It is a permission to rest, a permission to exist without effort. You imagine lying among galaxies, floating on a tide that lifts without haste. The stars shimmer gently, distant yet familiar. The void between them feels safe. Even the dark spaces hold comfort, because they are part of the same patient rhythm. Gravity still gathers local objects, but it no longer feels like tension. It is the hand of a friend holding you lightly, supporting the clusters of your own life. The cosmic tide flows everywhere else, rising steadily, carrying moments, galaxies, and thoughts in a shared rhythm. You are inside it. You are part of it. You notice how your mind has slowed. Questions linger softly at the edges, but they no longer tug at attention. Curiosity rests beside awareness. Breath and space synchronize naturally. Dark energy is present, constant, invisible yet undeniable. It does not need to prove itself. You sense it like the gentle lifting of air beneath a feather. You smile faintly, sensing the quiet humor of the universe. So vast, so patient, so unhurried. Your body melts further into support. The warmth behind your eyes grows softer. Your heartbeat aligns with the calm flow. You imagine the cosmic tide rising gently beneath you, lifting the edges of your being in unison with the vast stretching of space itself. It is not overwhelming. It is holding you. It is home. You realize that nothing here requires struggle. Nothing here demands hurry. The universe expands, time drifts, the hidden fields whisper, and you simply exist within it. Your breath deepens slightly, unforced. You notice your fingers, your toes, your spine, all releasing into the same gentle rhythm. Inhale, space opens. Exhale, stillness remains. You allow your attention to drift over the universe, seeing the galaxies, the empty spaces, the invisible fields. Everywhere, the same calm tide flows. You are included in its embrace. There is a subtle reassurance in this sameness. It feels like a lullaby written not for ears, but for existence itself. Dark energy, once mysterious, now feels like an invitation to rest, to float, to breathe inside the universe without effort. You imagine yourself shrinking slightly in the most comfortable way, not disappearing, not leaving, but blending gently into the rhythm of space itself. The cosmic tide rises beneath you, carrying your rest as easily as it carries stars. Every muscle, every thought, every breath is held. Nothing pulls, nothing pushes, everything is supported. The distant hum of the universe surrounds you. It is steady. It is infinite. It is gentle. You feel a deep warmth behind your chest, spreading slowly outward, filling every corner of awareness. This warmth is calm. It is patience. It is trust. Even the questions that once lingered, why dark energy exists, what hidden fields do, no longer need immediate answers. They float softly in the background, like tiny lanterns in the distance. You are allowed to simply exist, to drift, to breathe. You notice the cosmic tide beneath you, lifting and supporting without effort. It has been moving for eons, and it will continue, long after sleep arrives. And you are part of it now. The universe is vast, but its vastness does not overwhelm. Its expansion is gentle. Its patience is infinite. Its rhythm is yours to join. You exhale fully, feeling the rise of space beneath you, the lift of breath through your chest, the subtle pull of gravity locally gathered. You smile softly. You are held. You are safe. You are calm. All the unseen tides, the hidden fields, the steady expansion, they fold into this moment, and you rest inside it completely. The cosmic tide continues beyond sight, continues beyond thought. And as you drift inside this gentle continuity, your body, your mind, and your breath align. Expansion and stillness coexist. Time flows softly. You are part of it. You are included. You are carried. And now you drift toward sleep. Light fades softly in your awareness. The gentle tide lifts you just enough to surrender fully. Your mind grows quiet. The universe continues, patient and calm. And so do you. You arrive here softly, like stepping into a quiet room you have always known. The cosmic tide continues beneath and around you, steady, patient, unwavering. Your body is fully supported. Your chest rises and falls without effort. Your shoulders release completely. The spaces between galaxies, the hidden fields, the stretching of time, all of it folds gently into awareness. You feel it inside yourself as well as outside. Breath and space move together. Inhale and you feel expansion. Exhale and stillness remains. Dark energy is no longer just an abstract idea. It is the subtle rising of the universe beneath you. It is the calm that allows everything to exist, evenly, fully, patiently. It does not push. It does not demand. It simply is. You notice warmth spreading through your body, as if the universe itself is pressing lightly against your skin in reassurance. It is a permission to rest, a permission to exist without effort. You imagine lying among galaxies, floating on a tide that lifts without haste. The stars shimmer gently, distant yet familiar. The void between them feels safe. Even the dark spaces hold comfort, because they are part of the same patient rhythm. Gravity still gathers local objects, but it no longer feels like tension. It is the hand of a friend holding you lightly, supporting the clusters of your own life. The cosmic tide flows everywhere else, rising steadily, carrying moments, galaxies, and thoughts in a shared rhythm. You are inside it. You are part of it. You notice how your mind has slowed. Questions linger softly at the edges, but they no longer tug at attention. Curiosity rests beside awareness. Breath and space synchronize naturally. Dark energy is present, constant, invisible yet undeniable. It does not need to prove itself. You sense it like the gentle lifting of air beneath a feather. You smile faintly, sensing the quiet humor of the universe. So vast, so patient, so unhurried. Your body melts further into support. The warmth behind your eyes grows softer. Your heartbeat aligns with the calm flow. You imagine the cosmic tide rising gently beneath you, lifting the edges of your being in unison with the vast stretching of space itself. It is not overwhelming. It is holding you. It is home. You realize that nothing here requires struggle. Nothing here demands hurry. The universe expands. Time drifts. The hidden fields whisper, and you simply exist within it. Your breath deepens slightly, unforced. You notice your fingers, your toes, your spine, all releasing into the same gentle rhythm. Inhale, space opens. Exhale, stillness remains. You allow your attention to drift over the universe, seeing the galaxies, the empty spaces, the invisible fields. Everywhere, the same calm tide flows. You are included in its embrace. There is a subtle reassurance in this sameness. It feels like a lullaby written not for ears, but for existence itself. Dark energy, once mysterious, now feels like an invitation to rest, to float, to breathe inside the universe without effort. You imagine yourself shrinking slightly in the most comfortable way, not disappearing, not leaving, but blending gently into the rhythm of space itself. The cosmic tide rises beneath you, carrying your rest as easily as it carries stars. Every muscle, every thought, every breath is held. Nothing pulls, nothing pushes, everything is supported. The distant hum of the universe surrounds you. It is steady, it is infinite, it is gentle. You feel a deep warmth behind your chest, spreading slowly outward, filling every corner of awareness. This warmth is calm. It is patience. It is trust. Even the questions that once lingered, why dark energy exists, what hidden fields do, no longer need immediate answers. They float softly in the background, like tiny lanterns in the distance. You are allowed to simply exist, to drift, to breathe. You notice the cosmic tide beneath you, lifting and supporting without effort. It has been moving for eons, and it will continue, long after sleep arrives. And you are part of it now. The universe is vast, but its vastness does not overwhelm. Its expansion is gentle. Its patience is infinite. Its rhythm is yours to join. You exhale fully, feeling the rise of space beneath you, the lift of breath through your chest, the subtle pull of gravity locally gathered. You smile softly. You are held. You are safe. You are calm. All the unseen tides, the hidden fields, the steady expansion, they fold into this moment, and you rest inside it completely. The cosmic tide continues beyond sight, continues beyond thought. And as you drift inside this gentle continuity, your body, your mind, and your breath align. Expansion and stillness coexist. Time flows softly. You are part of it. You are included. You are carried. And now you drift toward sleep. Light fades softly in your awareness. The gentle tide lifts you just enough to surrender fully. Your mind grows quiet. The universe continues, patient and calm. And so do you.